In the heart of Kuala Lumpur City, there's approximately 500 meters of residential area back in 1950s. What happened to them?
As you know, Kuala Lumpur has grown a lot. We are actually surrounded by the commercial center that all the shopping malls are just like 5 minutes away, and surrounded by all the international hotels, 40 to 50 stories tall. This little enclave stays the same. It's been like this since the 1950s. Very unusual place. I like to say that it's pretty bohemian.
Today's episode, we will be revealing an enticing episode of a 4-story residential townhouse packed in the heart of Kuala Lumpur city centre that turned from this into this. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification buzzer to stay in the loop of more compelling episodes. Ever wondered where the large population in the city centre actually sleeps at night? We are now at Jalan Badara, just a shy away from the famed Jalan Alor for its stretch of the food stalls and Jalan Mesui for its hidden cafes and chic options for pub crawl. These streets used to be the residential district for the heart of Kuala Lumpur city centre. But what happened to them?
This building originally was a 4-story apartment block with a staircase access. It had 8 units of apartments, one at the front and one at the back in 4 stories. The tenants were generally foreigners and some of the old people who used to live in the neighborhood. One day I just decided that, wow, it's right in the city center. I'm a big supporter of urban rehabilitation, and I decided to convert the building.
Jalan Badara used to be a very unknown little street. They are all what we call walk-up apartments or townhouses.
So normally one level has how many rooms?
Averagely, maybe 4 rooms or 5 rooms. They can be quite long.
Architectural elements of the ventilation blocks and everything. I think it's actually quite breezy inside.
So you can spy the design, right? Even within the house, the walls there would be ventilation.
Yeah, within rooms, right?
And it's a very nice, a very old design type. The people who lived here had to grow up in a hurry to provide talent and provide support for a very ambitious government who wanted to jumpstart Kuala Lumpur or leapfrog from what was essentially a manufacturing small cottage industry into an industrialized country. Like my grandfather or people from older generation who took the plunge, took the risk to live their country in search of a better life. And Kuala Lumpur, in fact, the hero here is downtown KL. Downtown KL over the last 100 over to 200 years have played host to different generations of dreamers.
I felt that Kuala Lumpur, while it's famous for its culture, its food, has always been a bit lacking in the arts, and it needed some intellectual stimulation. I've always been trying to work on building a museum for Kuala Lumpur City. The building in my mind had to be like a piece of art. Has to be, in some sense, architecturally superb.
Outclassed by the rapidly evolving city, Ermu is located right where the story began, implementing modern architecture that reflects the mirror image of the surrounding neighborhood.
design the building, we wanted quite a warm reception. So we use raw natural bricks, so you get this warm feeling as you arrive. A bit industrial feel, but it's pretty urban and hard wearing because it's a public building, it's a museum. So when you arrive, you come under this glass canopy and you enter into a very small entrance. As you go towards the back of the first gallery, we purposely took out the whole of the back wall and replaced it with a mirror glass so that you can actually look into the back lane. And in the back lane is actually the truth of every city. And several times in the day, people come to collect garbage to recycle. They collect cardboard and aluminium cans. But that's the story of every city. Beautiful at the front, there's always a facade. But at the back, what makes the city tick and work is grittiness, it is rawness, it is reality. So to us, that whole window wall at street level is actually a piece of living art. To solve the problem of vertical access for disabled and so on, we put in a glass lift that has a glass back that takes you from the lowest floor to the upper floor. And when you look out at the back, when the lift is going up or down, you see every gallery just passing before you. That's been quite a hit, and some people thought that the museum is actually underground, and you come into this lift and you actually go underground. You're supposed to visit the museum floor by floor until you get to the top. And when you get to the top, so we got a garden at the front and at the back. The front garden is basically a sculpture garden. We call this the sculpture lounge. And when you look out into the front garden, there's a massive cotton steel sculpture by Mutalib. It's called Wing It. To me, it signifies two things. Number one, we are always ready to spring out or to jump off the building, as it were. And another one is that it's sort of like a Batman call sign. When you're in trouble, you can put a spotlight underneath it and you can project out and call help from a power greater than us. I really wanted some roof gardens because greenery is really lacking in the city. And as part of the green building, policy, our principles are to try and get as much greenery back into the roof. We hope that Ermu will instill in people a love and appreciation for art. I've always said this, that a bankrupt country is devoid of good art and good architecture. As an architect, I'm just trying to do my little part to tell people that art is not something you cannot afford, you cannot reach, or it's not available to you. But actually art can be affordable and you should appreciate and collect art. And I hope that this will spur the whole local art industry, as well as cause people to be a bit more intellectual in their approach of thinking. That it's not always about making money, but some things can be enjoyed.
Ermu isn't just an art museum. It is a movement that rearms the local dignity and pride of local artists and the meaningful stories behind them. Modernization doesn't just affect buildings and architecture, but it changes the environment, the people, culture, and even emotions. We are in support of bringing a greater awareness to improve the local design scene. If you are in support of this movement, share your love by clicking on the Super Thanks button below and contribute by encouraging us to create more impactful and appealing contents. As what Dr. Tan mentioned earlier, Kuala Lumpur is well known for its culture but is indeed lacking in the arts. If more of the society supports local movements of such, our country's almost lost historical values could resurface with pride again. If you're around the Bukit Bintang, Kuala Lumpur area, look for Ermu via Google Maps and experience the space and let us know what you think.